They found ways to see through their passengers at the airports.
Yeah, if you stand like this.
This man was caught in a UK airport, stuffed with narcotics packages inside his body.
Okay, sir. From what we can see on the x-ray, looks like you have packages inside you. Time is 08:53 hours. I'm arresting you on suspicion of being involved in the importation of a controlled drug.
The process is even more outrageous after the arrest is made. The mule is still carrying the bags inside, so the authorities need to wait for them to, well, come out. So he's dressed in a special suit and accompanied to a special kind of restroom.
So he's gone into the special toilet facility where if he starts producing packages, they then have to be cleaned up by the officer who's gone in with him, and then they'll be bagged up as well.
Gross work, I'm sure you'll think, but the officers are just happy if the mule manages to do this and survive.
Obviously, the quicker they're out of his system, the best chance he's got of survival.
This one man was carrying around 2.2 pounds of white powder inside him.
What's up, y'all? Let's get it, silly butts. We back with the reactions. We got the brutal reality of smugglers who get caught. If you're new to the channel, like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because like I told y'all, every time we come back with them bangers, every trip. Let's get it.
Where are we going now? We're gonna go right over here, right?
That happens. Y'all filled out.
All right, very good. Seize the entire shipment. Let's pack it up, and we'll bring it back.
Many people might not think of the dangers of being a smuggler before they become one. They're always on the run, always on the lookout for officers and undercover agents, and in many cases, scared for their lives. So in many parts of the world, smugglers only leave their jobs when they're behind bars or in a coffin. On one side, they have law enforcement hunting for them 24/7. On the other side, they have their own employers, brutal cartels, who will easily take a life if they think they were wronged. Let's explore the tough reality of smugglers who get caught and why so many people do it today.
Tough?
In Pinal County, Arizona, 2 deputies were following cars illegally crossing the Mexican border into the United States. This was their daily job. This is a well-known smuggling route, and they're there to stop the narcotics and illegal immigrants from entering the country.
Oh yeah, where are we going, baby?
Finally, they caught up to the white truck and called for backup.
No se muevan.
Oh, he must have took off running. Oh, look at him back there running, y'all.
Hey, I want to hold the car? Hold the car, hold the car.
As it turns out, there were 2 trucks driving at the same time and 2 detective cars pursuing them.
We had 2 vehicles running tandem. One of the detectives pulled over one vehicle. He got into a pursuit. They drove in the desert, bailed off. At the same time, we pulled over a vehicle. They started to slow down. It took them a little while. Then they started to slow down, tore off into the desert, through the fence, into all the cactus.
When backup arrived, it was clear that the smugglers were not getting away.
We got the air unit coming out, so we'll see if we can't find these guys.
When you looked at who the detectives pulled over, you really wouldn't have pegged them for smugglers. That's because they weren't smugglers. They were people getting smuggled into the United States.
¿Quién said? Todos.
I'm confused.
¿Dónde vienen? De Guatemala?
Many people attempt to escape the harsh conditions at home, such as poverty and conflict, by fleeing to a country with better economic opportunities. However, the laws are strict when coming into the United States, and the human smuggling business is a terrible trade that cannot be encouraged. Many human smugglers keep people in horrifying conditions. In June 2022, 51 immigrants were found dead on the outskirts of San Antonio, Texas.
Wow.
Most of the bodies were found in the oven-like trailer of an abandoned 18-wheeler truck. At least 6 people, including teenagers, were taken to local hospitals. It was dubbed the worst-known human smuggling catastrophe in modern U.S. history.
Can you imagine being stuck in the back of a semi-trailer with 51 dead people, that's tough, man. And I know them bodies started to smell eventually. That's tough, yo.
NPR said the Mexican president says that the horrific incident was a product of the poverty and desperation of our Central American brothers and of Mexicans. He went on to say, it happens because there's trafficking of people and a lack of control at the border and in the U.S. interior.
Hey, man, before we keep going, man, I always hear people say Mexico ain't all that bad. So if it ain't all that bad, I'll be trying to figure out why people want to come to America. If you know why people want to come to America, man, drop that in the comments. I'm kind of curious. Is it because you can make more money or what? I mean, because I feel like majority of the times, about 50% of the people that come to America that be crossing over these borders through immigration or illegally, they get right back into the crime life. Like, literally, they get right back into the crime life. So, is it the fact of the matter that they can't get a larger chunk of the money down there when they out there doing a criminal, whatever it is, habits they got down there in Mexico? They doing that crime down there, and they can't take a larger chunk of the money. They get left with pennies. What is it? Because, I mean, to be honest with you, I really don't understand it. And on top of that, people will always say, oh, Mexico ain't even all that bad. There's good parts of Mexico. But why don't the people that want to immigrate up here and want to come up here illegally go to the good parts of Mexico? I don't get that at all. I mean, if you know why, drop that in the comments. If you feel where I'm coming from, hey, like this video. But if you don't, man, I mean, I will hope that you at least something in the comments and let me know. Give me a better understanding of why it is giving off that impression. You feel me? Because we all know that sometimes the things that we see on the media can be misjudged and misconstrued. So, like, I mean, if they telling us going to Mexico ain't all that bad, I'm kind of like running off with that. People always going to Mexico to vacation, get cheaper, all type of surgeries and stuff like that. So, what is it? I feel like people just really, I feel like either it's about the money. I mean, maybe American dollar still worth more than the Mexican peso, and then on top of that, the crime. You feel me? People just don't really get to take advantage of the larger chunk of the crime. You feel me? The drugs, whatever it is they doing down there. You feel me? They don't get a larger chunk because they gotta, you feel me, pay their debts to whoever it is that run that country, state. I don't know what they really call them down there, but yeah, like, I'm just saying though, like, I want a better understanding of that because I don't really get it. You feel me? If my country ain't all that bad, I'm gonna stay here. You feel me? But maybe it's just the fact of the matter they feel like they can just go somewhere else and get more money. They come up here, do their little illegal explicits, get that money off of it, and keep it to themselves. That's what I feel like the case may be. But I don't know, man. Drop that in the comments.
In another stomach-turning story, 39 people lost their lives while being trafficked into the United Kingdom in a truck in 2019. Parliament member Jackie Doyle Price said, to put 39 people into a locked metal container shows a contempt for human life that is evil. The best thing we can do in memory of those victims is to find the perpetrators and bring them to justice. The tragedy recalls the death of 58 migrants in 2000 in a truck in Dover, England, and the deaths in 2015 of 71 migrants from Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan, who were found suffocated in the back of a refrigerated truck that was abandoned on an Austrian highway close to the Hungarian border. Such incidents are not alone when the immigration is done by heartless smugglers who want quick cash, but have no regard for human life. This is why law enforcement hunts them so viciously.
So they're taking the 60 because we were hammering them on the I-10. We were catching one load after another. Now we're seeing that they're pushing up around the 60 to try to avoid us. And now we're getting them up here, almost a pursuit a day right now.
The illegal immigrants these Arizona detectives picked up confessed they paid over $10,000 in credit to get past the border. What does in credit mean?
So was she supposed to pay it off by working it off? Or was she supposed to pay it off through being in the sex trade? Told her the cartel lies, so whatever the cartel told her probably wasn't true.
This is the brutal reality of many illegal immigrants. They are beholden, oftentimes for life, to real-life monsters. They are promised a land of milk and honey. Then they are reminded that they owe them big money, and when they can't deliver, they are forced into unspeakable jobs, or even unalived. Sometimes their entire family is punished.
Where are we going now? We're gonna go right over here, right?
Smuggling can happen in every corner of the world and by any means of transport. This is why airports are filled with agents on the lookout.
Are you bringing any food?
No.
All right. No food?
No.
Any alcohol?
Alcohol and clothes.
Alcohol and clothes. Alcohol, clothes, and shoes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tonic wines. What do you plan to do? Open up a store or something?
Smuggling can be anything: narcotics, alcohol, and any substance or object that is legal in the country of origin, but illegal somewhere else.
So these are all for you, or they're for somebody else?
Not for me and my friends, you know.
Oh, it's your friend.
It's only true. It's summertime.
100 bottles of tonic wine is suspicious enough for one traveler, but there's another layer to this.
For us, that's a red flag because it's also a method of concealment. Within those 100 bottles, maybe 5 or 6 could be loaded.
Yep, many smugglers carry narcotics in small bottles like these.
Yeah, my friend, I'm bringing them back to my friend. He asked me if I can bring them back, so I'm bringing them back.
What's his friend's name?
Yeah, I don't know his legal name. I just know he's short.
Short man.
Mad
For several
cat.
years, but you only know him as Short Man.
This man claimed that he was bringing several pairs of sneakers back home for a friend he supposedly didn't know by legal name. And although he had a suitcase full of them, which he paid for, he claimed Short Man didn't pay him to bring the sneakers.
These are real?
I don't know.
You don't know if they're real? It's copyright, man. Christian Louboutin.
I don't think a friend asked him to bring back the shoes. I think he purchased the shoes over there in Jamaica, knowing that they weren't real, with the intent to just use them over here.
In the end, this man was released as all the shoes appeared slightly used. This meant that even if they are counterfeit, they are not contraband. They were for personal use. The tonic wine bottles also did not turn up any other content inside. Whether the slightly worn shoes were just a deceiving tactic or not, we may never know, but the authorities often have much bigger fish to catch in airports. In 2019, there was a huge flow of ketamine and other party drugs from Colombia into the United States. And deceivingly enough, the smugglers were young tourists, many under the age of 25.
The Colombian flights, there's no right or wrong person to stop, unfortunately. But I like to stick to the single traveler with just a couple of bags.
So it's not as much a question of the face, age, or ID card, but more of a random search and looking at all the small containers inside their luggage.
Okay. Todos estas maletas son tuyos. Todo lo que hay adentro es tuyo. What's this for?
It's for my face.
What's this drawer?
When the agents went through this young man's bags, they found several toiletry bottles with gritty liquid inside. Some were missing straws, others just looked like they'd been filled with something else.
It's getting gritty. It's starting to crystallize. We're gonna get all the liquids out, take them in the back, start testing on the liquids. There you go. Ketamine.
What's ketamine, y'all? Drop that in the comments. I don't know what that is.
It's a special kit.
This is what happens when a smuggler is caught.
He got caught.
Take it to the back.
This man was carrying 1.6 kilograms or 3.5 pounds with him. This is below the federal prosecution level. So the authorities kept him inside the airport and interrogated him about his network. Through this, authorities can learn bigger names, his boss, perhaps even the cartel kingpin who orchestrates all the smuggling routes.
All right, I need you to left 4 fingers flat on that pad.
Some people smuggle because they're in a bad situation. Some people get coerced into doing something they don't want to do. And some people do it because they're entrepreneurs and they think it's easy to go there, get something for cheap, bring it over here, flip it, make a lot of money.
This man belonged in the latter category. He had not been coerced.
So I'm on to it. I just told y'all, you feel me, before dude even just said that that's why people doing it. It's not even the fact that it matter that they got to. People just literally be doing this stuff just because, honestly, they lazy. They don't want to work, you feel me? And unfortunately, if you ain't got the right logical sense to educate yourself on doing something legal to make big chunks of money off of it, then you resort to these type of schemes in order to get those larger chunks of money. They be like, oh man, they raising the price on the housing market and so on and so forth. Man, look, it's a ways around everything. You feel me? It's ways around everything, but people be so caught up in their lifestyle that they live. You feel me? And then sometimes it could probably be a curse, because sometimes you probably could just be born into that. You feel me? You're just born into a family that got wants, that expect or wants to be supplied more than their needs. So they always caught up out here trying to dress flashy, eat a certain type of way. And I'm not talking about people, all people, but it's just too many of them. And I can't separate the two. There's just too many people out here that just get caught up in this nonsense, you feel me? Now, a lot of these times, and you got these people that's in Mexico, they're living in poverty, and so on and so forth. But on the other side, we see videos all the time of people eating real good down there in Mexico. We see people down there living good in Mexico. So I'm just trying to separate the two. You feel me? What is it, the education? Whether you feel like you were part of some generational curse where you gotta take care of your family, and if you don't, you a wicked person, you about to go down with, you about to go to hell or something like that. Like, I don't really get it though. Like, do what you gotta do for you, take care of yourself, come back, put your people on. But these type of situations don't help nobody out, because now you about to be in jail. Now you gotta call home, hey, can you put money on the books, or pay immigration fees, or you get people caught up in debt that you didn't caught because now you was caught smuggling, and boom, now you owe these people. Man, low-key just don't make no sense to me, to be honest with you. Some people just be living backwards. And I know down there in Mexico, I'm not saying that they ain't got TVs, but whatever they influence down there, it's not probably as strong as it is up here in America with entertainment. You feel me? So I don't know what type of influence they got going on there down there, where they leaving that influence on people and pushing their people to do certain things. It just don't make no sense to me though. Like, you feel me? To be honest with you, like, dude, get your money up, take care of your peoples, and you feel me? You feel me? But now, on the other hand, a lot of people do get caught up as innocent bystanders in these cartel beefs and stuff like that. That's a whole other story I can't get into. I can't speak on people, how they want to avenge and get revenge for losing someone in their family. But at the same time, I can tell you that a lot of this stuff with this whole smuggling and all of this drug trafficking and drug using and being junkied out and all of that extra stuff, man, that's on you. You feel me? You ain't do enough to put yourself in a better situation. So what? Then you catch a record. Now you feel like you gotta live this lifestyle for the rest of your life. That's what it really be, for real, to be honest with you. Now that I think about it, y'all be catching these records too early at an age. And then boom, now you 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, can't get a good paying job. Now you like, man, you know what? I might have just do what Holmes do or Brody do. And now you stuck living like that. You feel me? And that's only like 10% of them people ever come out winners.
In cases like these, smugglers will most often have to face a judge and receive a fine, probation, and even jail time. But that's an obvious way a smuggler can carry narcotics through an airport. There's a more subversive and much more dangerous one.
The drug smuggling operation is highly organized, and there are plenty of people prepared to risk imprisonment for the large amounts of money offered by the dealers. Some will even go through the uncomfortable process of swallowing plastic bags filled with narcotics, something that can end in death if the bags burst.
Not only is this process uncomfortable, but there are serious risks of having a bag explode in your stomach, and there's no surviving that.
If you're carrying as a mule packets of cocaine, and one ruptures, the acute powder of cocaine is rapidly absorbed. It creates a disaster in your stomach. The first thing they usually feel is muscle contraction pain. Then they complain of chest pain because now the heart's starting to be affected.
There is a very short amount of time the mule has if their life is to be saved. But if they're on a plane, hours away from landing, the chances are slim. And here's the thing. As soon as authorities caught on to this, quite literally, stomach-turning method, they found ways to see through their passengers at the airports.
Yeah, if you stand like this.
This man was caught in a UK airport, stuffed with narcotics packages inside his body.
Okay, sir. From what we can see on the X-ray, looks like you have packages inside you. Time is 08:53 hours. I'm arresting you on suspicion of being involved in the importation of a controlled drug.
The process is even more outrageous after the arrest is made. The mule is still carrying the bags inside, so the authorities need to wait for them to, well, come out. So he's dressed in a special suit and accompanied to a special kind of restroom.
So he's gone into the special toilet facility where if he starts producing packages, they then have to be cleaned up by the officer who's gone in with him, and then they'll be bagged up as well.
Gross work, I'm sure you'll think, but the officers are just happy if the mule manages to do this and survive.
Obviously, the quicker they're out of his system, the best chance he's got of survival.
This one man was carrying around 2.2 pounds of white powder inside him. That's worth 50,000 British pounds, or 61,000 American dollars. He was charged and sentenced to 5.5 years in a prison in the UK. Was it all worth losing his life? This one case points to the sad reality of cartels. Many of the mules employed by cartels to do this sort of job are seen as expendable. They are very poor, from vulnerable backgrounds, and sometimes ridden with addiction. Other times, they're not even employed, but threatened into doing this job. To the cartels, these people don't matter. If one suffers a burst bag or gets arrested, they have countless others. Other times, cartels go via big cargo shipments, the same way Pablo Escobar brought tons of white powder at a time into the United States. Except Escobar had his own fleet of planes and had bribed law enforcement in all countries en route. This time, security is stronger, and each cargo is thoroughly verified.
Greed, man. All of this is about greed.
Oh, wow. What do you have? Looks like it's in the pocket.
White powder. Beautiful, great job. We have 2 bags in each jacket. There's got to be a couple of dozen jackets in each box.
There were 17 boxes, each carrying almost 30 jackets. Each jacket holding 2 big bags of white powder. A specialized machine confirmed the substance as ketamine.
I'm still trying to figure out what ketamine is, man. Is that cocaine? Is that what cocaine really is? Ketamine? I don't know what ketamine is. I'm gonna have to do some research on that.
All right, very good. Seize the entire shipment. Let's pack it up, and we'll bring it back.
64 grams in each bag.
It's gonna be a lot.
So 128 per jacket.
3 jackets is a pound. Yeah.
Of course, it's harder to prosecute someone when the cargo has already made it into the U.S. airport. However, for the authorities, that's a great victory, much greater than arresting one person. Why?
What's the total weight that we have?
About 63 keys.
That's approximately $6 million off the street.
Wow.
Not only is the black money taken off the streets, but many lives are saved. Such drugs can easily lead to overdoses in party settings, as people take more than they can handle, and some can even consume it unknowingly through spiked drinks. There's another dangerous catch to it.
Ketamine, the problem with it is it's a tranquilizer. You don't know what the concentration of this ketamine is. People taking it, they might take too much, go down, and never come back.
This is a recurrent problem with street narcotics. No one guarantees they are pure, safe, or have a non-lethal concentration. This is one of the many reasons why authorities are trying to keep them off the streets.
This was a very gutsy move to bring in 60 kilos at one time. We called our HSI agents, opening up an investigation. We're gonna see where it was going, who it's going to, and I can foresee a lot of people being arrested.
Indeed, it might take longer, but after such a big seizure, more smugglers are put behind bars, and sometimes a thorough investigation can trace it all back to the kingpin, leading to even greater arrests. So far, we've discussed what it means to be a smuggler and get caught by authorities. But the reality is much more brutal if a smuggler does something to upset the cartel they work for.
Nombre? Eric Gámez García. Tu nombre? Bernardo Gámez Castro. Soy de Villaloma.
In the 2010s, Felix Gámez Garcia and Barnabas Gámez Castro were working for the notorious Sinaloa cartel. Sinaloa was led by Joaquin Guzman, aka El Chapo, but in 2016, he was arrested. Now he's in a maximum security prison in the United States. In fact, it's the highest security prison in the country, the ADX Florence, and it's highly unlikely that he will ever be released. So after 2016, his 4 sons took over a part of the Sinaloa cartel. The other part is led by El Chapo's former business partner, Ismael El Mayo Zambada. The United States intelligence community puts the Sinaloa cartel as one of the most powerful narcotics trafficking organizations in the world. They're also among the most dangerous organizations. With over 100,000 people working for the cartel and an entire specially trained army, the Sinaloa easily takes out rivals, police officers, and even civilians as collateral damage in their never-ending turf disputes with other cartels. But in cases like Felix and Barnabas, the Sinaloa cartel also takes out their own men. Why? Because they have a hunch they've been stolen from. Felix and Barnabas were small-time smugglers. In fact, only Felix was a smuggler per se. He had worked for the cartel in Arizona, then back home in Mexico after he was arrested and deported. He had never taken a life, and he only carried small packages. Felix's uncle, Barnabas, had only started working for the cartel after his nephew convinced him. There would be some quick cash, he said, but that never happened for Barnabas.
Eso fue lo que pasó en la trayectoria que yo trabajé con ellos.
Told y'all, bro. I told y'all what it's all about. When people be willing to lose their life over this, man. Greed is taking over so many people's mind. I mean, the whole world is consumer based. So I know you wake up, you see something on TV, you see somebody else doing something, and you want it. But this is the reason why so many people are losing their lives and throwing their lives away or becoming users, whatever the case may be. It's all over greed, yo. All of this is all over greed. I mean, look, Smuggler right here just told you. He getting paid so little. What is it that you want to do to make you get paid a lot? Everybody wants to be El Chapo. I'm talking about out of 6 billion people in the world, every one of them want to be as big as El Chapo. Well, guess what? It's impossible for that to happen. It's impossible. It's impossible. All of you, whatever you want to call yourselves, cannot be Chapo. You can't be his sons. You can't be the sons of them sons. Y'all setting yourself up for failure. I ain't gonna cap to you. I ain't got nothing else to say about it. Let's finish the video.
Me pagaron muy poco. No me pagaron mucho. La última vez que fui, me dieron 300 pesos.
Indeed, Barnabas earned very little money for very little jobs. In short, Barnabas was an errand boy for El Cholo, a former member of the CJNG who switched sides and formed an alliance with the Sinaloa. At the time of his capture, Barnabas was working on getting a 3/4-ton pickup truck released after it had been confiscated by the police. In the past, he'd taken radios to a colonel the Sinaloa cartel had on their payroll. 300 pesos is about $15 or 10 pounds. Barnabas risked his freedom, his life, and the lives of his family for $15 errands. Was he so financially stressed that he saw no other option but to work for the cartel? Or was he unaware of its danger when his nephew roped him in? After describing his job and his very low wages, Barnabas went on to say that he knows he shouldn't steal from the cartel. He also said that his and his nephew's lives were now completely worthless just because they chose to mingle with the wrong people. He clearly regretted his decision to join the cartel and wished his nephew had steered clear of the Sinaloa from the get-go. But it was too late now. Both men's lives were taken in a way so brutal we can't even begin to describe here, all for presumably stealing a sum the cartel wouldn't even have noticed. Cartel kingpins deal in billions, and yet they unalive employees for taking a few tens or hundreds. Sometimes it's just a hunch. There isn't even proof of this. The reality of being a smuggler is brutal, no matter how you look at it. If you're not caught yet, you're constantly paranoid about incoming dangers. To the left, you have the authorities, always looking for you through your luggage, your car, and your cargo. To the right, you have volatile kingpins and cartel bosses who are happier to take your life than to discuss things. There's really no escape from a smuggler's life. If you leave the job, you're seen as a traitor and faced with cartel punishments. If you don't, you will probably end up behind bars. It's a life of fear and danger, and the risks always outweigh the rewards.
The risk always outweighs the
Hey,
reward.
thanks for watching.
Shout out to my dog DtaeNoDinero, man. I ain't gonna cap to you. I kind of miss watching these videos. I've been watching these videos for a little while now, but I took a break on it since so many people was tuned in to Larry Bird. But hey, man, before I get up out of here, I want to know what y'all think. Like the video, drop some in the comments. Go check out DtaeNoDinero's channel. Subscribe to him, like some of his videos. I'm pretty sure he got hundreds and hundreds of videos on there that you might find interesting. But my overall take on this is that don't let greed get the best of you, man. I don't know why people start off at an early age thinking that the whole world owed them something. The only people that owe you something is your parents. Your parents was the ones out here having unprotected, you feel me, brought you into the world, brought you into poverty, couldn't do nothing about it to help you out, and allowed you to grow up in a world where you're going to get pushed in a certain direction. You're going to. And these people out here getting put, it's millions and millions of people in this world that have been brought into this world, and their parents didn't have no plan for them, don't got nothing planned for them, and they just want them to be thankful that they're alive. Well, this is what life comes with. Harsh decisions that gotta be made. And it seems like on the tipping scale, more people are willing to do whatever they can to become somebody that they will never become. Never. And it's sad. It's sad, yo. Sad that so many people get pushed off into this whole ordeal of smuggling, dealing, whatever the case you want to call it. Some people even turn out to become addicts, and in worst case, I mean, some people go to jail, but worst of the worst, y'all die over it. You feel me? Or your kids get killed, your parents get killed, somebody get killed over it. Because who are we? We just a person out here hungry for a check. You hear me? Hey, but it's your boy DtaeNoDinero, man. Drop some in the comments what y'all think about the video. I'm probably about to do a few more of these. So if you tuned in this one, like the video and get ready for the next. Let's get it. Silly.